thinking I'm back. All right, so it's been a while, and I think I'm gonna pick this thing back up. And the obvious question would be, why did I stop to begin with? Well, for starters, editing is a lot. So I'm thinking I was kind of inspired by another channel that I was watching / listening to, and yeah, had the old brain juices flowing, and kind of wanted me to jump back into things, or at least give it a shot, you know. So there was that piece of it, and then also just kind of goes hand in hand, but just trying to beat the algorithm and everything that comes with that, with the thumbnails and the clickbait, and it's just not me. And I think I'd rather just get back to me, and I think that's gonna help. Because if when I start doing things that are just not me, then it just feels gross. So that, and then also I have many interests. There are so many things I like. It's too much. It's a little too many things, if you ask me. So I don't want to just do one thing within one thing, if that makes sense. So I primarily messed around with Savage Worlds, which I do love. I do still love Savage Worlds, and I do still play Savage Worlds. But I can't just do Savage Worlds. Don't get me wrong, Savage Worlds offers a ton of things, but I've learned a lot since then. So in the time between this video and my last video, it's been a minute. It has been quite a long time. So since then, what have I been doing? My family has expanded, so that obviously changes things. My work situation is very different now than it once was. And I think the combination of work and family just kind of, those changes, I'm kind of looking at things a little differently. And that might be kind of guiding where I'm going with this. So there's that. And lots of gaming. Gaming has changed for me. I used to have more time. I used to have so much time compared to the amount of time I have now. But I'm finding, for me personally anyways, that it's almost like a requirement. Everyone kind of has their thing that they do to unwind, whether it's, watching TV, reading a book, going for a run, working out, whatever your de-stressor might be. For me, I'm finding that gaming is definitely probably my primary one. Probably my primary one. And gaming can kind of encompass multiple different things. So I'm primarily going to be talking about tabletop role-playing games for sure, but I do enjoy other forms of gaming, like board games and video games for sure. Video games, I'm finding that it just requires less of me, so that's kind of an easier thing to kind of just sit down and do. Whenever I need to unwind, every game's a little different, but for the most part, if I need to unwind, I'll just kill hundreds of thousands of billions of things in like a Torchlight or Diablo or something like that. That's kind of the gist. Okay, so you might be wondering, where am I going with this, right? This is why I stopped. This is what I've been doing. Now, where am I gonna bring this, right? The important thing for me, and I think is how this is going to succeed regardless of how you view success. How I'm gonna view success in this situation is going to be, I am going to take my mind and I am going to offload it onto the internet. Scary, I know. But especially being a dad can be kind of isolating. With that said, this is going to accomplish multiple things. I'm potentially going to find my tribe. I've definitely found pockets of tribes that I've I've settled into through other podcasts or YouTube channels, right? But this is gonna be our tribe. So there's that. And also, like, it's gonna be me. So the things that I appreciate in gaming and how it relates to other things, that's where I'm gonna be focusing. So whether it's video games, I've played some bangers since I've been on here last. Let me tell you, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I'm not even a Final Fantasy guy, but I played those, and those were great. Older games like Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, there's definitely some things that you could take into your games from those games. Deathloop, that was really neat. Baldur's Gate, of course. I actually finished it. It took a lot. That game takes a lot. And kind of like maybe a sleeper hit, at least for me, was like Immortals of Aveum. I actually really like that, and I was kind of inspired by some of the stuff I experienced. On the tabletop side of things, of course, Savage Worlds, naturally, right? But also some other stuff. Morkborg, the other Borgs, Pirate Borg and Cyborg, I want to say. Got those books, and man, are they beautiful. Also, Dragonbane, Shadow of the Demon Lord, Ironsworn, and a kind of a smaller guy, Note Quest, also a good time. So those are definitely some of the tabletop RPGs I've been spending some time with, and I am in a constant state of comparing media that I am consuming to tabletop games. It's weird. I don't know if everybody does that, but that's what I do. Whether it's just an awesome scene in like God of War Ragnarok, and I'm just trying to like unpack how this would be an amazing encounter in a game, or maybe even watching a movie and breaking down the mechanics and how that would work. So that's definitely something I want to dive into, as well as, I mean, even on the video game side, right? If I've got a video game that is just in here and I gotta get it out, this is where I'm gonna get it out. So that's what I'm thinking, and all of that is gonna be through the lens of me. Everybody kind of has their own unique lens. You're gonna get mine. So with that said, I guess the final question worth asking is, so who am I? Why would you watch? You've got other people that you can watch, right? Why are you gonna watch it through me? Who am I, and what unique lens is it that I'm bringing to the table? So, gamer, husband, father, philanthropist. At least some of those are true, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. You know, this is not going to be. You're not going to get the power gamer lens to look at this through, because I just don't have the time. So I gotta kind of choose my priorities, right? And you kind of, like I mentioned before, just constantly comparing things to other media, shows, movies, video games, books, and some things that have just been sticking in my mind that just don't seem to leave ever, that I'm sure I'm gonna unload here in some form or another. Things like the book series Codex Alera. Man, that would be an amazing game in my opinion. Horizon Zero Dawn. I know you argue that Numenera, which is another thing I dabbled in, Numenera is very similar. There's definitely some similarities there. But I think we can kind of, I think there's a middleman that, at least for me, I would love to meet that middleman between Horizon Zero Dawn and Numenera, meet in the middle. And I think for me, that would be the sweet spot. That's where I would love to be in that world. I mentioned Immortals of Aveum before. I know I've been playing with this idea of this world that's kind of like magic is everywhere, which D&D absolutely does do, and other settings do as well, but they don't really dive into like how that affects things. Not to the level of like the latest Pokemon movie, for example. They really dove into I think they had like Charmander or something like behind the grill, and all these just different ways to use the Pokemon. And then same thing with like Avatar, right? So like you've got these people that can control the elements. How would that like affect things like the economy and stuff? That's the part that I would love to dive into from a magical perspective. And then Immortals of Aveum just opened up some additional ideas that I found interesting. But lastly, Into the Badlands, man, that's so cool. Another thought that I've had is, you know, almost this like Into the Badlands, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter-esque type world setting that I would really love if that Savage Worlds martial arts companion would ever come out. It's like every single one but that one has came out. So that would probably help. But like I said, I'm playing different games. Outro time? Boy, this is awkward. Because I don't really love the channel name, and I think that was also a part of it. Kind of the identity and how that plays into things. So, yeah, I mean, you can see what I'm currently, the name I'm under right now. I think that's gonna change. And I've got a couple ideas, and they might stick, they might not. If you're along for the ride, strap up, let's go. Like, subscribe, because we're gonna start making videos again. Let's go.